Hello and welcome. This is Claudia Sky. And this video today is on how to release or disarm a limiting belief. A thought pattern that is actually toxic to you and to your life that you carry consciously or unconsciously, and it's sabotaging your life. It's creating stress, disharmony, struggle. We all carry those. We carry those from just absorbing them from our environment when we grow up. We install them ourselves by looking at experiences a certain way and interpreting them with our mind and making a conclusion that is or is not close to the truth. We can inherit those patterns from our ancestors, and I believe we can carry them through from past lifetimes as well. And it doesn't really matter where a limiting belief comes from, because the key is that you become aware of them, or become aware of the belief. Let's work with one. And then you have to accept it in order to really transcend it, do that inner alchemy. And then, after you've done the deeper work through the body and the emotional aspect that you are also, then it is so easy to release it out of your mind. A lot of people start working on the mind right away, where they use an affirmation to substitute for the limiting belief, and they use a lot of repetition, and they might go into the feeling aspect, but that only really goes so far, and it's not a very direct and immediate response that you'll experience from that. In my experience, it is way more powerful to go through the body, bypass the mind, get neutral to the belief, where it's like that's just a belief, and then you can install or create the new belief that you would rather choose to believe, which is usually what's true anyway. So you just let the truth emerge from within you. So no matter where the belief comes from, we all have limiting beliefs. And how do you know what limiting beliefs you have? You just simply look at your life and look at which area is working. That's where you have positive, life-giving beliefs. And then there are probably areas where you're experiencing struggle, where even though you put in energy, you just cannot break through something. There's this repetitive pattern that emerges, or emerged at some point, and now it's repeating. And you can look at that pattern and ask yourself, so if this is my result, if I'm honest and this is what I'm experiencing and what I don't like, what must I believe on the inside to experience this on the outside? And in this way, the limiting belief reveals itself to you. And of course, there are many, many beliefs within in a subject area, let's say. Let's say you are struggling with finances. There are many limiting beliefs, like money is hard to come by, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy and bad people. You have to work really, really, really hard and be really, really, really smart in order to have a certain amount of money. Or I easily make money, but it just runs through my fingers. I can't keep it around. Any of those will create an imbalance in your experience with finances. And so you can just sort of, if you're not aware of any of those, you can probably even Google common limiting beliefs around money and find a whole list. But when you really sit with that, you will, and you ask yourself, what is my core belief here? What do I believe is true about me and my relationship with money and money? And they will emerge. And maybe you even hear the voice of somebody that always said that thing, and you just soaked it up when you were little, when you had no filter to disregard those comments. And so once you have identified that belief, and you usually feel it a bit with like a sinking feeling in your stomach, or you just kind of know that is true for you, the first thing I honestly always do now is I'm grateful that I found this. So immediately I shift to gratitude, because now as soon as I know something, I can change it. But when it's in the unknown and when it's not in my awareness, then I'm at the effect of it. So you shift your vibration by shifting to gratitude. And the next step is to scan your body. As you think that belief, you can speak it out loud, or you can just think it and bring up the emotional content that comes with that, the stress it's causing. And as you go into the scenarios that are true around the subject, you want to be so present in your physical body that you catch any sensation that now comes forward. And there always is a sensation. It can be a heaviness, a tightness, a numbness, a tingling, a pressure, nausea, any of those. And when you catch that sensation, you drop the mental image, you drop the story and the belief, and you go into your body and you feel that sensation unconditionally. You're relentless. You will not let it get away. But you don't come like a with annoyance or anger or frustration or anything like that. You come with compassion, patience, understanding, forgiveness, perhaps, for wherever that comes from. You come with that posture of unconditional acceptance and loving presence. And as you allow the sensation that has surfaced in relationship to the limiting belief, you literally disarm it. And the energy begins to move around or split up. A number of things can happen, but you just track whatever is happening in your body. You just follow it, you feel it, you allow it, you don't push it away, you don't um, you don't want to feel an urgency that this needs to be done now, this needs to be over with. You just stay present with that. And what happens in that presence that you give yourself, because this is an unresolved part of you that is holding onto this belief, that's stuck in that story, you allow it to come forward in such a way that it begins to unravel. It begins to unravel and it moves through your body. And if you're sensitive, you will literally feel it exit certain acupuncture points that are in your extremities or on your face, on your head. And this can take anywhere from a minute to maybe an hour. It takes practice to stay with that. You can use your breath to breathe gently, but in a focused way into that sensation. Not to push anything, but just to offer it more life force, more support. Every time your mind chimes in and wants to comment or ask why or tell you a story and distract you out of the actual healing process that you're in now, you just let the mind know, not now. I'll get back to you later. And it doesn't matter how intense and maybe even traumatizing that belief is, or if it's linked to a trauma. If you do that and you stay loyal to your body and the sensation and you do not get wrapped up with thinking, it takes just a certain amount of time in that loving presence until the energy and the anchor, the hook that belief has into your biology, into your body, for that to go away. It will release. It always does. And now you can, whereas before maybe the belief like, if I have a lot of money, um, it might just cause you to feel contracted. It might cause you to feel a knot in your stomach because of some story that you're telling yourself deep down. And now, when you pull up that belief again, you can just look at that belief and like, whatever. Like, it doesn't phase you. There is no hook. There is no connection. There is no sensation. There is neutrality and understanding. Like, wow, that is totally, I used to believe that. It doesn't relate to me anymore. And now you have literally disarmed and transcended the toxicity of that limiting belief. It's no longer relevant in your system. And now you kind of come up naturally with the belief that's more true. Whatever you worked with. You can also, of course, use an affirmation and look at, okay, what's the spiritual positive opposite here? And then choose to believe that, to say that, to feel that, to program it into your mind. But now there's no longer a charge, a trigger that when the subject comes up will hijack you out of the moment and out of your sovereignty around whatever you're working with, because you have literally burned it out of your system. This is very powerful, and not many people know about this, but to do that first before you work through the mind is really, really powerful. And in my eyes, is key to actually making the limiting belief that you carried truly not be a part of your life anymore. It will take a long time when you use only the mental process. It takes a few minutes to work through your body, honoring that you are a physical human being in a body that has a mind, that can use the mind, but is first shifting the vibration in this way out of the body. And every time you do this, every time you release a limiting story like this, every time you release a shadow aspect, an untruth, you increase the light, because as you peel these layers away, your natural light and energy now can shine more. It comes forward. It's more available to you. And this is how one by one you reveal yourself to you. This is very similar to certain kind of trauma work. So if you notice that something massive comes up that makes you maybe have to catch your breath, or you go into a fight and flight response, then you might be touching on something pretty big. At this point, I would recommend you pause this process, and you say to yourself, I'm coming back to you. And you find somebody that you can work with that does any kind of therapy to help you break through that, so that you don't re-trigger yourself. That is very, very, very rare, but it can happen. So I just want to mention that here. Um, but in general, this technique is very, very powerful to release any blockage of that nature out of your physical and energy and light body. And in this way, you literally turn yourself on to more of who you are. So try this process. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you do for working with these patterns that are difficult. And I see you in the next video.